Hello and welcome to C&T Collectibles. I am C, and this is 3 Up and 3 Down, where we take a look at some of the top risers and fallers over the baseball card universe over the past week, and I appreciate you joining me here. So we're going to take a look at what Cardladder has to offer for some of the top risers and fallers, and then we're also going to take a quick look at what Starstock has. They do things just a little bit differently, and it's important, I think, for me to look at things from a different couple different angles. And then we'll look at a few names that did well in real baseball over the past week and see if there's anything that we could or should be doing. And we will start off with our number 3 faller on Cardladder, and that is the 1986 of the rookies, Bo Jackson, down 52% on the week, not for the week, of the week, on the week, during the week, last week. We don't like low volume moves to the top of the range, but we sure do like low volume moves to the bottom of the range, a potential support where there has been lots of buying before. So do with that as you will, but let's pretend we never saw this, and let's back away slowly so Mr. Jackson doesn't see what we've done to his rookie card here. All right, our number 3 riser for the week is Fernando Tatis Jr., who was your number 1, depending on how you do the scoring or anything like that, but your number 1 offensive player in fantasy last week, and justifiably so. People have come in to buy, whether they know it or not. They bought it at a very logical level. We look at his base card on a pretty regular basis and notice that it was coming up into an area of pretty decent, where there's pretty decent buying in the past here. So the trend is up. A few people decided to buy. They like the batting stance here, and they decided to buy this card and shoot it back up into its prior range. So it's still off from its high considerably. Right now it's at $67. Its high price was $120, so make no mistake. Call it what you want to call it. Dip, correction. I'll just go with crash. If in April your 401k was sitting at $120,000 and right now it's sitting at $67,000, you'd probably be hitting your pants. So up 116% on the week. So mathematically, if something's at $100 and it drops 50% and you go up 50%, you're sitting at $75. So even up 116% does not get you back to where you were before. So enough of that. Let's just get on with this here. Our number 2 faller for the week is Yordan Alvarez. Down 53%, so very thinly traded. So $800, and here you are, sub $400. Not having a bad year at all, guys. So I like his stuff, but it continues to. Well, at least this one got hit a little bit here. I think some of his base and his chrome are doing okay. They're hanging in a little bit better, but the Bowman Chrome autograph, one person came in, was able to just bring this thing down. So this is the autograph refractor neighborhood of $4.99. So not a whole lot of these being sold. So it is wild, it is volatile. But if you are into if you're doing this for trading and making money, you want things that are volatile and thinly traded. This is where you see the biggest moves, and we see down moves like this. They but it's not unusual for me to see them go the opposite direction in a week or two here. So our number 2 riser for the week is the Topps Chrome Aaron Judge. Here come the Judge. So having a terrific season, and what we said is it's all about health. What anybody said, it's all about health. When he's on the field, he's a beast. He's amazing, top 5 player, and he's on the field and he's healthy and he's a top 5 player. So big move off of that $30 level for his chrome, bringing it up into an area here. If he keeps it going, yeah, it should go higher. I think everyone's waiting for that other shoe, domino, whatever, to fall, and if he gets hurt, then you're back into this range, and that's the risk with Aaron Judge. So I don't know what you'd want to do with here. It's your own risk tolerance, time horizon on this one here, but gosh, if he's able to get through this season healthy, and for me, I'm just gonna wait for him to prove it for a while. I have what I want, and I'm not gonna chase this one here, but gosh, there's no reason for this to fall if he keeps doing what he is doing. So all right, our number 1 faller for the week, Fernando Tatis. So he had a great week last week, so of course we sell him. I don't know. Prospect autograph refractor, $4.99. Again, thinly traded stuff here. So we don't like the moves up here on low volume. A lot of people decide this is the price, and one person says, I'll pay $10,000 for it. Good luck with that one. So here you are, back down to $4,000. That's a monster move. Well, there it is. Yeah, it's a monster move. So no getting around it. Back into an area where maybe there's gonna maybe we'll see some interest here. Maybe, who knows? Again, thinly traded. Nobody knows what you jokers are going to do here. You could see a move back up into the 5 or 6 area or something like that. So we'll see here. But I don't like this. I don't like this either. But if I'm a buyer, it's like, okay, that's at least interesting, and there's some support in here where people have bought in the past. So I do like. Let's finish up with our number 1 riser for the week, Ozzy Albies. how could I gloss over this one? Listen, we looked at this one last Friday, this very card. Ian said, this is at the bottom of the range. Ozzy Albies not having a great season, but he's not having a bad season. A little bit over average, in terms of WRC plus. But this is a great young player. This is it's absolutely worth a shot. Ozzy Albies. All right, admittedly, too much too fast. But this was when you're looking at risk reward. Your risk is relatively low in this area, and your reward is relatively high. Now, if it's sustainably down here, this is not sustainable. If it's sustainably down here, then you start to drift lower. But as it stood, your risk reward set up very well. So if you were paying attention and you did something with it, congratulations, 133% in just not even a week. That's just a couple of days, because I think I posted this Friday, and so those videos are usually done Thursday night. So not off by so just 4 days. That was that move. So anyways, Cardladder, I like what they do. I think it's important to look at things in multiple time frames, but they don't have everything. They don't have a lot of the younger current players. They've got some of them, but maybe like Albies, you only get the chrome, you don't get the base card. Alex Bregman, you get the chrome, you don't get the base card. They have a ton of these 2020 weird parallels that just came out. They don't do you a ton of good. And so I like looking at Starstock as well, because you can get some of those players that you're not getting off of this. But again, Cardladder does some nice things. So quickly following up on Shohei Ohtani, this is the update. We did that last week as well on Friday, so I just want to update this one real quick. Consolidation. It said it's going to break in the usually breaks in the way of the previous trend. And that has been up, unless this spike counts as the trend and then it's down. But the trend is up, so you just kind of go with it. And it broke out and is putting in some new highs here. So this range is about $80. So tack that onto this area, the break at about $130, and we could see $200, $210 on this card. So making new highs, not a bad thing. Maybe you don't want to chase it in here, but I think with the trend being up, if you're still looking for this card, there is some upside to it. So again, Cardladder does some nice things, but they don't have everything. If you were looking for someone like an egg, they've got you covered. The 2019 Allen and Ginter egg, they do a great job. But if you're looking at something like Xander Bogaerts, they're going to come up empty for you. So we've got to mix in a few tools here. But again, Cardladder does a great job with some of the longer term trends there. So when you're looking at the short term, sometimes it's helpful to pull back into the longer term and see what that looks like to get a flow for the general overall direction here. But Starstock, they have their risers and fallers as well. So I'm not going to do the 3, 2, 1 or anything like that. We're just going to kind of move through it here. But we've got Bregman, Lux, and Alvarez as your risers, Torres, Lewis, and Alonzo for your fallers. So let's just take a look at some of those guys here. And we'll start off with Alex Bregman. This is his base rookie card here. And we'll just look at the A's and B's, the 10s. I don't know if you're on Starstock for the 10s or anything like that. So coming in to make, actually, it's kind of weird. So I'm not sure how this is a big riser when you've had this throw. So maybe their data is a little bit outdated. So that's a pretty decent move here. But now you're coming back into these lows, which brings it into that $5 area, pretty close to. So buying has taken place at that $5 area. You guys in Starstock, y'all love round numbers here, so maybe there's a tiny bit of downside, but I think $5 you should probably be buying Alex Bregman here. You look at the B's, those have fallen as well into an area, looking at that $1 area. You're not too far off from that, so it is 15% down, roughly $1.15 down to $1. But I think you're getting into the area where enough people will buy, and when people catch on that Alex Bregman is a really, really good player here, those prices should rise. So all right, let's move on to one of the other riders, is Gavin Lux, who had a grand slam last week. This is a highly regarded prospect. He was right up there with Vlad, 70 grade prospect. And he's starting to get a little bit of love finally. So my mail days over the winter bought a couple of Gavin Lux. Worked for a little bit when the season started, and then then it certainly didn't work. But maybe he's getting a little bit of love again here today. And so you have this area, that $2.25 and the $2, so that's kind of your resistance zone between $2 and $2.25, and he's starting to creep above that. So as long as he can hold kind of that $2 area, you could see some higher prices. Now with Seager being out, Lux is going to get a lot of opportunities here. So let's see if he can make the best of it. If he can, then I think you see this continual rise in his prices. The Starstock B, a lot of support in this. Let's see, 36-cent area here. So you're at 50 cents. Perhaps some buyers start to creep in as well, especially if he can keep things going just a little bit here. Yordan Alvarez, all right, our last riser here. You can see his A's and B's starting to creep up just a little bit here. You've got a nice floor at this $1 area. It kind of crept up to $1.25. and just very mechanical. And so let's see if it can hold $1 here. But he's having a pretty decent season here. What I am seeing here, if I could draw a chart on, which I can screen print and do it, but I just didn't because I want to get through this a little bit quicker. You have a nice symmetrical triangle here, which is more indicative of a consolidation. So it could look for a move up into that $4.75, $5 area, and then perhaps travel higher if he is able to keep going. Now, Astros DH. We'll see how that all works out here, but I do like Yordan Alvarez. He's young enough to do some damage over a long period of time here. All right, let's get to our followers here. Our number one follower was Gleyber Torres, and scroll way down here. And he continues to get rocked, but can he be this bad? Yeah, he can. But there's probably potential for him to get better here. So his cards are trickling into an area where there's been buying in the past, kind of that $5 area. So maybe market memory triggers a little bit here. And this is back last fall, big spike into the season where people are like, gosh, he couldn't have been as bad as he was last year. Yeah, he's probably worse. But coming into an area where people could show some interest. Starstock B also in that area, around that 250 area, where there has been interest in the past. So we'll see if he does anything. I think people want him to do something good. So if he does anything, you could see some buyers step in. But anyways, you're coming up into an area of at least intermediate term support over the last couple of months here. All right, number 2 follower, Kyle Lewis. Came up big last year. Rookie of the year, right? So that is pretty big here. But he's continuing his downtrend, low volume moves here, and just getting smacked around. So again, coming up into a level of support. 50 cents, people seem to be pretty happy to buy his Bs. So if you're interested in taking these low shots, Seattle started out pretty well this season, but they've certainly tailed off a bit, and they keep getting no hits. So and he's part of that. So anyways, coming up into an area, $2 and 50 cents respectively, where perhaps some buying could step in, but he's going to have to do a little something before people get too excited here. And our number 3 follower here, Pete Alonzo, who's actually talked about him a few weeks ago, and I'm happy to talk about him again. We'll do that at another time. Having a pretty good season. He's improving as a hitter. If you liked what he did in 2019, threw caution out there with a 35% home run to fly ball rate, saying, this isn't it, but he's still 40-45 home run guy. Which is pretty good, and he did that last year. He was on that pace. Lousy 1 month, really good another month, but there's only 2 month season, so it gets a little bit more of a little more scrutiny. And this year he's really, he's staying the ball as well, having a pretty nice season here. So your floor is about $10-11 for the B. The reason he's down so much is because you had this monster spike here. So it's like, okay, well, that's too much too fast, but he's holding in at that $30 level for the that's the PSA 10. So we can get rid of that one, I suppose, and just take a look here. And you can see that he's hovering around a decent floor here. You can get it for around $11. Pretty decent spot for Pete Alonzo. $2, pretty fair. It's not, you're not seeing a lot of movement out of the Bs or anything like that. But I think if people just kind of take a look at his numbers, it's like, this is a good young hitter that continues to improve. Those are your riser and fallers. Let's look at a couple players of the week here. I've got to pull up my notes a little bit and see if there's anything we should do with them. So your number 1 player for the week last week is Fernando Tatis. Came back on fire. We look at his cards enough. We know what he's capable of. But Austin Riley for the Braves had a really, really nice week. Hit 500, 14 for 28, 6 home runs, 11 RBI. And really pretty terrific. And his prices are starting to reflect that. Buck is kind of your support on this one here. And looking at 11 cents for the Bs, up to about 30 cents here. So you're kind of at resistance on the Bs here. For 30 cents, why not take a shot here? So again, so bottom of the range, the top of your range is kind of this $2 area here. So you're at it again. And so the question we need to ask ourselves is what he did last week, is that sustainable stuff? And so let's just look at his numbers a bit here. So Austin Riley, he is a 24-year-old, just turned 24. Again, off to a terrific start this season. His prospects, really a power guy, starting to show that a bit here. Home runs in 2019, 18 home runs in 80 games. So it really comes up to a 35-40 home run power guy. Pretty terrific stuff here. And so his strikeout rate below 30%. So with the home runs that he's hitting, okay, that's just part of the deal. It's what you're gonna have to accept. 11% walk rate. So he's improving just a little bit on that area here. So one of the things we have to look at here, BABIP 421 with a 320 average. So we would expect that to regress at some point. It's important to look at BABIP and why that's happening. We'll look at that really briefly here. But overall, decent isolated power. and a WRC plus of sitting around 160. So he is elite, and I think this is a guy that could be in that conversation for top 20, 25, 30 outfielders. Going forward, he's young enough and he's improving, and he's got some power here. So let's just look at the StatCast. So his exit velocity is actually pretty average here. Max velocity is up around where you'd see some of the elite power hitters here. So I think he's being a little bit selective at the plate here. If you look at his launch angle, he's reduced it. He's hitting a lot more line drives, but it seems like when he wants to hit a bomb, he hits a bomb. He's barreling up 12.5% of the balls. And so he's had 13 barrels, which is a combination of that ideal exit velocity of 95 miles per hour and that ideal launch angle of 25 to 35 degrees that you want for a home run. And so with his, what does he have, 8-9 home runs this year? He's really barreling up balls and making great use of it here. He's hitting balls at a hard hit, 46% rate. So I think this is a really good hitter. He's getting a little bit lucky, but he's hitting some really hard line drives. So again, with that low launch angle, with that average, so he could be a little bit higher BABIP guy because he's really changed the way that he's approaching the ball here. Let's see if we can see his game log. Now, here's the one thing. Looking at his prices at resistance, most of that damage has come in the last week. So of all the home runs he's hit this year, 6 of them come in the last week. So he's done a ton of work recently, and so I don't know that what he's done. I think there's a lot of potential with him, but if you look at the price spike, people are buying into what he's done recently. It's like, all right, this is the best week of his career. Is this the time to buy? Probably not here. So again, if you look at the 1 second. Move my dumb head out of the way a little bit here. Average, so his exit velocity, as we said, pretty average stuff, but his maximum is at a pretty decent level here. He's up there with the big boys. His weight, and this is from Baseball Savant here, so he hits the ball plenty hard, and his spray chart, he's sitting all over the place here. So I like Austin Riley a lot. I just don't think you buy in right now after the best week of his career. So, all right, another excellent performer last week, Jesse Winker, and he was 11 for 28, also 6 home runs with 7 RBI. So, a lot of solo shots there, I suppose. And so we'll look at his cards here again, spiking big time on the excellent week. And so it's kind of tough to predict this stuff. I mean, he was a top prospect for a long time, and he's finally getting a chance to show that off. And so your range right now, let's call it $3, and on the downside, $1.75, ultimately down to $1. With Jesse Winker. So again, after a monster week, is this the time to buy? I would think not. So we'll just take a quick look at his fan graphs here. And so again, he's 27 with 6 cumulative WAR, and so it's unfortunate. Would love to have seen him get more of a chance over the past couple years. Really, his first full-time action was last year, and so his hitting profile is really good. Walking 10% of the time, striking out less than 20% of the time, excluding the small sample size here. So pretty high BABIP, but he's a high BABIP guy and can handle it. So he's not going to hit 350 for the season, but can he get around 310 or something like that? Sure, we'll see what happens in a 192 weighted runs created. Again, none of this is sustainable, over the course of a long season. So this is not a player that I would say, especially with the spike in prices, I would scope it, but I wouldn't do anything with it right now. And given his age, just now starting to get full-time playing time, not much I would do with him in general unless you really like Jesse Winker. So again, good barrel rate. So he's got that nice, good percentage time. He's got that nice combination of launch angle and exit velocity. His max exit velocity is up there with some of the big boys, so he can hit some bombs. But the regular exit velocity, again, he's probably more of a line drives doubles hitter. So terrific player overall. I don't like his late start, and I definitely wouldn't buy after what he did last week. All right, Miggy Sano. Can we call him Miggy? There's only one Miggy, right? Miguel Sano. All right, I'm a Twins fan. I'm a Sano fan. But real quick, again, monster week last week. 11 for 33, 5 home run, 10 RBI. He had a 3 home run game that did most of that damage there. So your rate at resistance, your support levels down closer to the 75 cents. Let's see, 69 cents. Awesome. And 60, so the 60 to 70% area. So this is too much, too quick. Most likely his Bs haven't moved a whole lot. It doesn't look like there's a recent sale of that one. So yeah, before the week started. So the next sales could see some higher prices. But just to keep it short here, Sano is just turned 28 years old, 9 WAR to his name. He doesn't stay healthy. He strikes out a ton. So all right, again with the hot streaks. Don't buy into the hot streaks, and especially with Miguel Sano. If you're a fan, do something with it. Now is not the time to do with it. And for that longer term bent, if you think there's something there, probably too late, and his track record is not indicative of long-time health. All right, let's get into a couple pitches here, and we gotta save the best for last year. Corey Kluber with the no-hitter. So against the Rangers, obviously 9 innings pitched with 0 hits. One base on ball, 1 walk given up, and 9 strikeouts. And you can see that his prices spiked during the week on that news. Don't follow that. Is he gonna? What are the chances of him throwing another no-hitter anytime in the near future? Longer-term bet on him, elite, just elite with Cleveland between 2014 and 2018. But he's been pretty injured the last few years. Not a lot of games started, and so unfortunately these are his prime years, and wasn't able to do much with it. So 35 WAR at age 35. I have a lot of respect for Corey Kluber. Love what he did. It's fun to see what he did recently, but. Unless you're a fan, so definitely don't do anything now after a no-hitter. And for that longer-term look, not sure we do anything with that either. Spencer Turnbull, another no-hitter last week. They're turning these things out like candy here. So against Seattle, 2 walks, also 9 strikeouts. And so again, big spike on this one. Best outing of his career. Is this the time to chase him? Probably not. So resistance at 70 cents. 10-15 cents maybe where you can maybe a better spot for that one if you can get it. But he's having a really nice season here. But he's 28 years old. Cumulative WAR 6 WAR, so not a whole lot as of yet here. So could be a very, very good season, but I'm afraid it's kind of a late start, and he's going to need to do his best. Jacob deGrom to have a long-term relevance there. All right, we'll wrap it up with a youngin. Julio Yarius, this was the #1 guy for the Dodgers for a while. He's getting a chance here, and over the past week he had 2 games started, 2 wins. So he pitched 12 innings over those 2 wins, gave up 3 earned runs, struck out 18, and he moves to 7-1 on the season. Now he's starting to fulfill his prospects. They brought him up and had him going out of the pen for a while here. So his prices have come down a bit on the A's. The B's are hanging at a level where we've seen some pretty decent buying before. But this is a player that I think if you're looking to speculate on, 24 years old, and now he's just starting to get full-time work, for crying out loud, with already 6 wins above replacement. Left on base, all these numbers are average, league average, not average for him, but they're good. They're showing a good skill set here. Left on base percentage, giving up a few too many home runs, but he's striking out 10 batters per 9 innings pitched, and he's only walking 1. So we'll see if he can keep. This is. If the strikeouts creep up just a little bit, I mean, you're talking elite level stuff here. 24 years old, and see him figuring out right now. I think this is a really exciting. He's been exciting for a while. The prospects of of him have been high, and people have been waiting for something like this, and now you're starting to see it. I like him a lot. So we'll see if those prices stay kind of low, but those B's just go back to that. Look really, really interesting if this is indeed the price. So there haven't been any sales over the past week or so, the past couple of weeks. So we'll see what those come in at. But these are interesting levels for Julio Yarius. So all right, that's what I got for you. Taking up enough of your time. I certainly appreciate it. We'll be back with a couple more videos this week. Can't thank you all enough, and have a great rest of the day.